all the trades that have happened, what did you find out in the moments leading up to that, all the trades that had happened in front of that pick? Had you done your own mock draft? I mean, who did you think was going to take you before the Bills actually got you?
I knew Buffalo was very interested in me because I took a visit here probably a week and a half ago, but when I got to see my phone and it said NY on it, Buffalo, I was very excited.
Right. Yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome Stephon Gilmore from this Congratulations, my friend. I wish you all the best and have a great career.
Buffalo Bills pregame show, special edition draft wrap-up. Well, we survived another one. It gets so painful as the draft winds down. There's so much excitement to begin with, and you can tell by the end of the coverage that none of the analysts want to be there anymore. It's kind of funny.
Yeah, after 7.5 hours in a desk, you're kind of done.
You were experiencing couch fatigue yourself, weren't you?
Yeah, I watched the entire draft, so towards the end I was... I was getting ready to call it a day.
At least you had that big payoff at the end, right?
But
let's start at the top. So the Bills, first pick overall, go with defense. Neither of us really picked Stephon Gilmore.
No, we went with, we both went offense, I think, yeah. So Stephon Gilmore, I mean, I already did a whole video on this, it's on YouTube already, but basically... I'm happy with the pick. I'm glad we picked a need position. That's huge, and I'm really not sure where else we could have gone except for possibly Michael Floyd. But that still remains to be seen how that goes. I had Dre Kirkpatrick ranked ahead of Stephon Gilmore, and that's kind of where my doubts are. We'll see which one's better.
With Terrence McGee's injury issues, we needed to be bolstered with a good pick at the cornerback. Let's hope that Gilmore works out. Our cornerback picks, as of late at least, have certainly not.
Right. I mean, I think the only issue, though, and I'll ask you, I mean, there's been lots of questions about his motivation. Is Gilmore actually happy to be here, or is he going to be another Aaron Maben who, pouts his way through the next couple years and eventually ends up with the Jets and all of a sudden starts to do good?
Well, from his self-reporting on his Twitter account and his social media, it seemed that Gilmore is very excited to be a Buffalo Bill. He's... What I've heard is very quiet in person. I was talking to some people who were at the draft party and heard him speak, yourself included.
I was there, yes.
And they said that he was very mellow, but apparently he knows how to turn it on when it's time on the field.
We'll see what happens. I'm hoping all the negative stuff's wrong, in all sincerity. So, but overall, I'm happy with the pick.
Cordy Glenn comes up next, second pick. Mm-hmm. He has played guard and tackle in college.
Yeah, he played mostly, I believe, guard. But the thing is that, and he played tackles too, you're right. That's probably the most happiest pick I had, the Cordy Glenn pick, because he was first-round value. And he was just sitting there at number, or whatever number it was, 41. The only thing that's going to come into question is, like, right before we picked him, I was like, okay, we could pick Cordy Glenn, we could pick Jonathan Martin, we could pick Stephen Hill. And then right after we picked Cordy Glenn, Jonathan Martin goes to Miami, Stephen Hill goes to the Jets. So the three people we could have picked, the other two went to our rival. So time will tell which one will be the best one there. And but I was really happy with the pick. It's probably the only one I got like crazy excited about.
Did you jump up and down?
No, I didn't jump, but I did yell. I mean, and I was at the draft party, so there was like
a lot of yelling.
Yes, there was a lot of other people there, so I was kind of getting into it.
Mob mentality.
Yeah, and then they all left. They were
right after that second.
Yeah, I'm not even kidding. Half the crowd left the Bills' official draft party because they thought the draft was over for some reason. I'm like, no, guys, we still have another round to go.
They wouldn't listen, though, huh?
Yeah, I wasn't loud enough. I didn't grab Tasker's mic away and say, excuse me,
You think Tasker would have mentioned it wasn't over?
Yeah, he would have thought, I guess he just won people.
All right, so 2 rounds down. We're in the thick of players we've never heard of before. And the 3rd round comes up, we make our blockbuster trade.
Yeah, so we make a trade. I'm sitting there playing like the throw game, and all of a sudden, now there was NFL Network coverage. I don't know if anyone saw that, but they suddenly say, and the Bills traded with the Redskins. And on the screen, there was the Bills pick, and then it looked like the Bills were going to pick again 2 picks later. So I thought we gave up a lot. This must be blockbuster. And then I realized it was just a graphic error, and they just switched positions. And then we picked up T.J. Graham, and I don't know what the ESPN coverage said, but the very first thing that the NFL Network coverage said was, I had him as a 7th round draft pick. And I'm like, okay, I'm gone. So then, of course, Tasker comes up on stage and defends the pick, like, right away. He's like, oh, he was a 100, 200-meter track champion in college, So he's a speed demon. So to be analytical for a second, he is a speed demon, and we were looking for a speed threat on the outside as our second receiver. But what I foresee happening is, I think they must have faith in our other receivers, like Marcus Easley, who was really yet to see the field, or Donald Jones himself, because he was injury riddled last year. Naaman Roosevelt. Like there's other receivers on that team. And they must be like, okay, we have faith in one of them. We'll have a competition to see who gets that second spot, and of course Nelson will get the 3rd spot most likely.
I am a Naaman Roosevelt fan. All right, so we get 2 picks in the 4th round. We pick up Ron Brooks out of LSU, another cornerback, and another defensive player. Bradham Nigel, outside linebacker, bolstering our depth on the defense.
Yeah, I mean, we definitely needed an outside linebacker position to add to the depth, so we'll see what happens there. He was ranked one of the better ones at the time. I didn't have him on my list, but I heard a lot of good things about him, so we'll see what happens there. And what I like about Ron Brooks is that he was from LSU. He played alongside Morris Claiborne, so he has that. Now, granted, LSU didn't win the championship, but he has that winning mentality. He comes from a winning environment. And I know a lot of these players do, but LSU is one of the higher schools in terms of winning, so I'm glad he came from an environment like that, and he's bringing that to the Bills.
Now, we don't have much depth at outside linebacker. Which one of these 2 players do you see getting more field time this year as rookies?
Good question. I would probably say Nigel.
Nigel?
Oh,
just because
Continue.
The position need?
I'm glad we picked a need position. That's
Makeup.
Are we doing this now? Are you kidding me?
Mm-hmm.
You good?
So,
okay.
into the 5th round, we pick up Zebrie Sanders, offensive tackle. 4-year starter. What do you know, Jared?
What do I know? Well, he played right and left tackle, and he had 37 starts when he was a Florida State. So that's pretty good. Like he comes in with a lot of experience. A lot of people who are drafted aren't. He was ranked among the top 10 for linemen. So the fact that we got him in the 4th round is very good, and I think that he could actually replace either Piers or Hairston on the starting offensive tackle position, especially if Cordy Glenn decides to do guard. He might replace even Levitri or perhaps Urbic. So, I mean, we have strengths of the line. I think the big thing here, and I'm going ahead of myself a little bit, is we got depth now. Mm-hmm. Like, I'm a lot more confident than I was last week about what would happen if we lost another lineman this year. We just throw one of the other guys in, and I think we're going to be all right.
With the 2nd pick in the 5th round, we can pick up Tank Carter, inside linebacker out of TCU, Texas boy like myself. He served a Mormon mission, and so he's a little bit older than your average incoming rookie. He's 26 years old, so he already has a man's body. Played very well in the Rose Bowl, stopped a 2-point conversion. But he has an interesting past. He was a world-class BMX athlete as a high school. He got a serious car accident, was able to recover, then didn't learn how to play football until he was like a junior or senior in high school. Went to TCU, served his mission, came back, finished his availability with the NCAA, and now he came out. And I think I think it's an asset to our linebacker core that we said at the beginning of last year was going to be a liability. So, like you said, we're continuing to add depth.
Yeah.
Into the 6th round now.
Mark Asper?
Mark Asper.
Mark Asper, all right. Now, this was a guy that, I'll give you a little inside info. I went to look him up because ESPN didn't talk about him at all. So I'm like, okay. They're like, oh, they picked a guard. It's like, okay, awesome, thanks, guys. So I went online, and I'm like, okay, what's he got? I couldn't find anything. So I really had to dig. I'm not going to go into depths of what I did. But the point is that I found out a little interesting story about him. He was sitting at a restaurant one day, just, eating his food, and suddenly someone starts choking. So he gets up, saves the guy's life, does the Heimlich maneuver, goes back and just continues eating his dinner, and then goes off and plays his game or whatever. So, I don't know. I think that's a really good character that we're bringing in to the team. I mean, he even has like kids and things like that, which is interesting for anybody at in college level age. So I think it's just a neat little personality to bring in, and
so citizenry of Buffalo, you can shoot a little bit more recklessly with Mark Asper on the scene. Is that what you're saying?
no, because he's not going to be there when you're eating.
But the odds of him being there are higher when he's in Buffalo, since he was drafted by Buffalo.
Like thousands higher. Anyway, continue.
And that, with leaving one last pick to go, Jared anxiously awaiting the third to last pick of the draft, and we pick up the kicker.
Yeah, I'm good.
Explain your reaction, Jared.
I was like, really, a kicker? Because like Kellen Moore was still available. There were like the quarterback from Boise State who went 15-3 in his college career. He was still available, and we never addressed the quarterback. I know Kirk Cousins went to the Redskins, and that may have been the point where we might have picked him up. But
do you think that the scouts were concerned that Kellen Moore wouldn't be able to play well on a green field?
I know the whole blue field thing means nothing. This is what means something with that last pick. I know it's close to Mr. Irrelevant. Who cares? But why are we picking a position we don't need? Like, that's the only thing that bugged me. It was the only time in the draft we did that, though.
So do you think Lindell is pissed?
Oh, I'm sure Lindell was sitting back drinking a beer and he threw it against the wall like, what are they doing? No, I don't know. He's probably fine with it. He just got a contract extension. He's not worried. This kid's going to come in, he's going to kick a few times, and then he's going to get cut. And there goes our 7th round pick. So, I mean, that's kind of why I was a little annoyed, because we wasted it.
Excellent. So, that 7 rounds, we survived another pick. I can't wait for the draft next year to not care about another group of incoming NFL players.
So what was your draft grade, though? I mean, you obviously...
I think the Bills addressed needs. They didn't reach for the best player available. I don't know. I give the Bills a B+.
Yeah, actually, okay, you and I have the same grade. Like, the Gilmore thing is going to be interesting. The kicker was a waste of time. But everything else was great. Like, we addressed every need. Wow, what was that? That was interesting. I'm going to have to go with B+ as well. A is basically if you get everything right, which no team does, in my opinion. But I would say B+ for the draft grade. And I have a little announcement to make. We are actually going to have open tryouts for this show. If you're watching this right now and you think, wow, these guys suck, I can do so much better, prove it. Personal message the show, if you're a YouTube subscriber. Give us a personal message and speak your interest, and we're going to actually see if we can get another analyst to join our little team here. Just make sure that you're in the Buffalo area, you have decent transportation, 18 or over, that type of thing. And we'll be in talks. So
17-year-olds need not apply. Well, that wraps up our extensive draft coverage from the boat, from the Skyway. Sorry Nakia, Sean, and Justin couldn't make it. We'll see them all at some point over the season. See you all in the preseason. Good night.